thank you for joining us tonight, and in particular to Wayra for giving us this incredible, awesome, funky space to do an event. I mean, this is very different from the House of Commons here. But let me just provide a bit of context. I think there have been quite a few people who've been to some of these Next Generation events before, but importantly also lots of new faces here as well. But the reason that we set up our Entrepreneurs Network Next Generation wasn't, well, firstly, it was to give you all an opportunity to network. And I think particularly for the business people, it's invaluable to be able to do that. And at the same time, give us an opportunity to connect up with you. I think too often we can seem in Westminster a bit distant. The way we do things in Westminster doesn't necessarily encourage people to come and connect with us. And so I've always been really determined that we should practice what we preach and do politics, if you like. People think, oh, this isn't politics, but actually politics is people, it's society, it's you, to try and do it a bit differently. And that's why we set up the network. Let me just make, I just want to make 5 observations. I'm not planning to speak for long at all. Five observations in 5 minutes. Let me see if I can do that. About entrepreneurship, and just to give you a sense of what we think and our approach. The first thing is this: I think we need to do a lot more to celebrate entrepreneurship in this country. I think people may have heard me say this before, but I think we're every bit as entrepreneurial as, say, they are in Singapore or they are in the US, but we don't really celebrate it and talk about it enough. I think part of that is having your icons and your symbols that you can point to and cite as an example. Lots of, this place is one of those, I would argue. I instituted and instigated Small Business Saturday, the Charvans who helped run that, she's here. The whole reason we did that was to celebrate entrepreneurship and celebrate small businesses. But also, we've got to make sure that we actually orientate government so that it is thinking in a more entrepreneurial fashion. And that's why I committed the other week at the Federation of Small Businesses policy conference that we would set up a small business administration like they have in the US to ensure that government serves your needs properly. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this: we have got to break down the barriers for those who are seeking to actually start up a business and get going. I led a trade mission to West Africa in May last year, and one of those people who's trying to do that at the moment, the Dean will be speaking to in a moment. But we've got to do this because, look, it's in our economic interest to do so. If we had the same number of female entrepreneurs as we do male entrepreneurs, the CIPD is estimating that will boost our GDP by 10% by 2030. That is the reality of the situation. And I think they're better at breaking down the barriers in other countries like the US than we are here. The fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the US are female Hispanics right now. They're the ones absolutely driving entrepreneurship. So we've got to make sure that we break down the barriers too. The third thing is this, and I say this quite deliberately because we're here at Wayra, but we have got to harness our digital lead and our digital strength to actually deliver more for our country. So we've got the 3rd largest online retail market per capita in the UK, but we're not using that enough to provide a platform for our businesses to really take off, more so than they're doing already. And that takes me to the 4th thing, which is that we as a country are in our 30th year of a trade deficit. We are not exporting enough. And if we sort out the digital side, that can, I think, turn around and help us address that ongoing deficit. And my final point is this: I think we have to recognise and celebrate women in business and entrepreneurship in particular. I'm not just saying that because I think people want to hear it, it's true. And this is another reason why we actually set up this network. I think, and no disrespect to any representatives from the business organisations who are here, but our business organisations, I think, do a fantastic job in this country. But the fact is, they only represent about 1 in 10 businesses in our country. And I think we actually need to get them more connected up with women in business. I went to the CBI's annual conference at the end of last year, and they had a panel on trust in business, and they had an all-male panel. And they had the token woman, and it was, you could tell that they thought, oh my God, what have we done here? It was Laura Koonsberg who was chairing the discussion. But otherwise, all of the business leaders were men. And I don't think that's right. And I actually see this in respect of another business organisation who I won't make to be a bit unfair, but I remember going in, I've been doing this job for 2.5 years now. And in my first month, I went and did a round table in the southwest of the country for one of the business organisations. There were about 40 people there. I was me and my parliamentary assistant, we were the only people of colour in the room. And my parliamentary assistant was the only woman in the room. So we need to sort that out. And so one of the reasons we've got this is so that we can sort this out and that we can actually properly connect with you guys. You can network with each other. And while we're here, Stella, one of our shadow business ministers, is going to talk to you in a bit. You can tell us what we need to do to help you. So that's just to give you a bit of context. Now, you didn't come here to listen to me. You came here to listen to my friend and others who are going to be speaking today. And I am incredibly grateful to Kanya King for agreeing to come and talk to you today. And look, Kanya has got the most amazing story. And I first met Kanya at Baroness Una King's house. I don't know if anybody knows Una King, but she likes to party. And it was at one of Una's parties, and that I met Kanya. And I'd already known about Kanya, but basically the story, she would tell you her story. But she, like me, particularly in the 80s and 90s, was watching what was happening in the music industry and was seeing music of black origin, our soul artists, etc., really making a big impact in our country, but getting no recognition whatsoever. And so if you looked at, like, who knows Soul to Soul here? Got any people like Soul? Yeah, they're from my constituency, by the way. So I have to love them. So Soul to Soul, I think in 1989 and 1991, they won Grammys. They were nominated for 5 or 6 Brits. No recognition, no awards in the UK. And so Kanya said, you know what? To hell with you, the Brits. I'm going to set up my own award ceremony. And since then, the Mobos, which everybody I think will know here, just absorb these figures, is broadcast to over 400 million people in over 200 countries. And that is what Kanya has done. And so I thought, it's amazing. It is an amazing story. So look, as I said, you're not here to listen to me, you're here to listen to others. It gives me huge pleasure to introduce my friend, absolute inspiration for all of us, Kanya King, MBE.